you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers. Using your voice is one of the most important elements every business owner needs to master, whether you're taking big stages or whether you are simply choosing to influence people on a one-to-one basis. But self-doubt can derail even the most seasoned of speakers, and that's why I'm super excited to bring somebody today to you to help talk about how do we use self-doubt as a strength and how do we actually influence sell without really needing to get into that awful, icky pitch scripting language. Please give a very warm welcome to our guest today. This is Katja Verderber. I'm super excited to have you. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Christine. I'm so happy and grateful to be here today.
Thank you. So let's talk about this idea of your voice is not just the oral component. It is something so much more. Tell us, what is presence? Why is it so important?
Yeah, so for somebody who's a public speaker coach, I like to say that people will remember you from your energy much more than from your words. So, which is really funny because I work with words all the time and I help people transform words into something much more than just a message. You see, in today's world, we're constantly bombarded, obviously a lot, with a lot of information. Now to stand out, it's not about the fast content anymore. I think that people really truly want to hear the heart-to-heart communication and really want to believe you. And now to believe you, you have to use your inner strength, your inner energy, and your own belief to actually make your audience, whether that's one person or hundreds of people, truly respect and believe what you're saying. And I like to say that I transform communicators because we are all communicators. We're born communicators. Since the day we're born, we're crying as babies when we don't like something, and probably even when we're very old and we can't talk anymore, we still somehow communicate through our body. What I like to do is transform the communication that's sort of average or doesn't make somebody feel content into something extremely powerful and joyful, something that we enjoy.
I think this is interesting because I think we often forget that we are born communicators. Mm-hmm. And everybody has an obligation, especially if you've chosen to be a business owner. You know, this is table stakes. I heard this in a podcast we recorded earlier this week, and I love that kind of analogy. You have to curate your skill set, and it is beyond just the words, because what does the audience need to hear? A script or something else? What's your opinion? Because I think a lot of people still come to speakers and say, tell me the script, or come to us when we help people with sales and they say, tell me a script. And I'm like, oh, no.
Yes. When it comes to scripts, some people simply cannot avoid them. They cannot function without them. I have quite a few clients who decided to simply learn their text, and I always warn them, if your brain goes into freeze mode, you won't remember a single word. You won't remember to breathe. So that's when you really have to understand what is your message. What actually, I like to call it, what is your gift? What's not the message? What is the gift for the audience? So this is the first transformative thing that I like to do is don't think so much about the words. Think of the message. Think of what's in it for the audience. So scripts, great. Bullet points, even better. Speaking from the heart, knowing what your message is, following the structure, perfection. That's it. That's the perfection. You know, when you allow yourself to just be the kid that you used to be, and when you bring that inner child in a speech that's well prepared, that for me is perfection. I love that. The authenticity that comes out, the playfulness, the charisma, that's what I truly believe. And that's when I really listen to the words.
Interesting. I know that one of the best experiences as an audience is somebody who is owning that influence, owning your energy. But here's the catch. Some of that energy isn't always positive because we're nervous and we've got butterflies in our stomach. And yes, it's true. Speaking is one of the most commonly held fears people have. And so what happens when doubt energetically spills over?
Yeah, so when we allow doubt to enter our system. And most of the speakers who deal with stage fright, and that's a lot of them, and actually I have stage fright still to this day. There's no way I can get rid of it. It's in the system because I feel very responsible. I always come on stage with a lot of responsibility to what I'm about to do, what I'm about to give. And of course, as a public speaker, that pressure is quite high.
Yes.
But what you just said is, so you have the self-doubt. Now, how to get rid of it? Simply transform it into, oh no, what if? You just simply go into, oh yes, I will give. This is what I will do. When I come on this stage, this isn't like, oh no, what do they think about me? What do they expect? How will they judge me? It's about, I'm stepping on this stage with something, with a clear message. I'm obviously here. I always ask my clients, yeah, but why are you invited if you're not good at something? You're obviously invited for a reason. Please, can we think of that reason first? Not this, oh, what if I collapse? What if I forget? What if I feel the self-doubt? Of course you feel the self-doubt. It's scary to be out there. And you know, the social aspect of stage fright is that we, as human beings, it's incorporated in us that we believe more what other people think than what we believe, and we really care about the communities. So audience is sometimes like a community, even though it's sometimes just a one person or 10 people. But if we come in front of audience, we always think, okay, the community will judge us, and that matters to us. So the question is, how can I not care so much? Because if we care too much, our speech will lose the whole power. Now, we've put already a lot of hours into preparation, and we're just a few seconds away from stepping on that stage. And if the self-doubt will take over, it will show. It will show in the first few words with a shaky voice. And guess what? People just switch off. When they see somebody in stage fright, unfortunately, this is what the fast content did. People are looking for that juice. And the moment you show that stage fright, that's it. All the hours of hard work are gone. So the doubt has to become the gift, has to become, okay, I'm not here to now self-doubt. I'm already here. What can I do to change it? And of course, to breathe through the scary moments just before we enter the room, the stage, wherever we are. It's the box breathing. I'm sure you've heard of it. You know, the 4-4-4-4, I like to call it. That's something that I really, really like to use with my clients and with myself.
This is important to hear for everybody. I think you said it, and I think we often don't hold there. So I want to pull it back just for a second. If you are taking somebody else's stage, whether this is a virtual stage, whether you're presenting in a meeting, whether you are invited into a conversation, or somebody says, I'm booking a call with you, which is an invitation, you have a real opportunity here to say, what value do I bring in this equation? And listen to the answer. Because if you can deliver against that expectation, which is why the invitation was extended in the first place, it is the reason to put the brakes on for the freight train that's running in fear. Because it's like, oh, right, I'm here, and ask for this. I think it's so important. Like when you're gifted a stage, it's like, the first question I personally always say to my host is, how can I deliver for you today? What is it that you've asked me to bring to your audience? What would success look like in the deliverable? Okay, I can just live to that expectation. And I think that's a really beautiful insight. Ask why you're here.
Yes.
And I saw an incredible way to handle, to your point, you can lose an audience if you're too fearful. And somebody who was speaking on a really big stage had a great whiplash moment where they came on and said, my voice is going to wobble for the first 2 minutes. Hang with me because it will steady itself. And Everybody in the audience was like, I get this guy. I'd be terrified too. And sure enough, when he found his rhythm and got going,
Yes.
he did suddenly feel and own that conversation. And you can acknowledge you're fearful. It's okay to do that. Everybody knows it's scary to be up there, but don't let the fear be the reason. You have to acknowledge it to really stay with the audience, I think.
Can I share just a really, now that you've said this example, I would like to share my own experience. So I had to perform once in front of the president of our country. It was a film festival in my country, in Slovenia, where I live. And I had to go on stage, and I was really full of self-doubt, very low self-esteem as a singer, because I'm not a professional singer. I am an amateur, but I really made it with my first song. So they've invited me to this festival, and the president of the state is there, and all the important people, and I'm shaking. So I come on the stage and I actually say, well, when I heard that Mr. President is coming, I really felt like, what am I going to do? And I haven't felt very good about myself. And in that moment, this huge applause comes from everybody, and so audience isn't as awful as it seems, but for some reason, we think they are really judgmental. And if we ask for support, audience will be there for us, because guess what? Every individual in that audience, they would be feeling the same. They would be shaky. They would be full of self-doubt. Some of them actually go, oh, I'm so proud that somebody even walks on the stage. And I always go, well, that's not enough to walk on the stage. Walking on stage is one part, just one little step, but then we do have to deliver. So yeah, I like that example, and you just reminded me of my little example.
100%. We are all nervous, and I think it's important. It is not lip service. I will tell you, every time I take a big stage, to this day, every time I create my own rooms, and I have lots of events in my business, and of course we have the podcast, I'm like, there's always a moment of anticipation, and that's the way I see it. I don't see it as fear. I see it as anticipation. Yeah. And my habit is, and I usually, if it's really a big thing and I'm in my head and I know it, I bring a Post-it note somewhere with me and that I can see in front of me, and it just says breathe. Like, get there, center your feet, and breathe until you're not shaking to the degree you were when you started, and then begin. And people, you're right. I think this is important to say. Your audience is not looking for you to fail. They're looking because you were asked to be here to give something. Lean in and they will meet you there. And I love that you share this about your own experience, because when you're in front of people that you have respect for, or you understand there's others that respect them, you have this sense of, I want to do this well. And being human in the doing well is what makes you really relatable. And that's so important.
Yes.
You, as a transformational speaker coach, help people with visibility, because a lot of people in business particularly know they need to be visible and will do a lot of things first. Why is visibility so important, and why should we start now building this so that we can influence others?
I always say that we have to be visible and do our best in visibility so that we can not shame ourselves or not blame ourselves for failing. Because when we give everything into the speech, presentation, into our presence, just for those few moments, I believe if we fail, we will be able to forgive ourselves much easier than if we just go half prepared, oh yeah, I'm going to fail anyway. And then we fail, and then we're like, yeah, I'm a loser anyway. So I think it's all very psychologically connected to this. It's like games, the mind is playing with us. And I try to say that certain people, they have this in them, and that's majority of speakers who aren't confident, and they have to do it for their jobs. Everybody has to sell something in their lives. We have to sell ourselves even at job interviews. So let alone being a business owner, gosh, you really have to know how to be present. And I often say to anybody who comes to me and the people I work with, and I cherish them so much, I say, when you fail and when you do things wrong, you just have to forgive yourself, because just putting effort into coming to me and understanding how important this is, it's the next big step in your life. And it's so important. And the people who keep ignoring it, they really suffer. They struggle. They struggle a lot. And they haven't opened their eyes yet. I had a doctor, if you let me just quickly tell you this case, a doctor who was such a specialist. She would come to me and she would say, I'm invited to this huge conference, thousands of experts, doctors. And I've been invited by the main organizer. And I go, wow, well done. And she goes, I think I'm going to have to cancel. When I think about it, I feel like I'm going to be sick. And I just go, whoa, hold on a second. You've been invited by the main organizer? You, the only doctor from our country? Okay, I'm sure there's a reason for this. Yeah, I don't know. What's the reason? The guy who's going to be sitting next to me has 500 surgeries more. I mean, I feel like I'm a nobody. You see? And this is somebody who's a doctor, a specialist with I don't know how many degrees, her own medical school. I mean, and this is what it does to you. The self-doubt is a huge enemy, huge. And to deal with it, we have to be smart. And we have to overcome it with help. With help, because there is help out there. And if we're all alone, and if we constantly keep doing this spiral, I'm not good enough, it's going to end up in a really deep hole. And it's hard to get out there. It's hard to step out.
I agree. And I think it is so important. We talk about getting help. I know one of the things that really shifted in my business, and I've been speaking for a long time as the introvert, actually learning speaking was easier because when I'm on a stage, I'm actually separate from the audience. Like talking in front of, like walking a room of 100 people is way more terrifying for me than actually standing on a stage in front of 100 people. Because as an introvert, I get to control this. And then the people who want to come talk to me, come find me. And I also don't have to do the ask. So it's a funny thing. But when I've always spoke, there are rooms that do intimidate us. And to this point, your story of the doctor, it's a room that she is intimidated by or is comparing herself within. And a mentor of mine that I hired this year says something to me all the time. You belong in every room. If I open the door, which means, somebody invited you onto their stage, invited you to bring your expertise to a room to add value, your job is to step through it. And we don't expect you to be perfect. We know you need repetition. We know you need the exposure. We believe in what you're doing. And this is but one step in the progress to being even better the next time. And you can't skip this. You can't skip the reputation. You can't skip and take yourself out of the game. Because the audience will give you a lot of grace if you simply say yes. And then work the system. And I want to ask you this question because you have a system. You're a trainer. You work with people to build this. We know we have to step in. We have to manage our energy. What's the tip you do, or what's the tip you really work with your clients in your framework to manage that energy so that you can step boldly even when you're wobbling?
Yes, so it's, again, I think I like to compare the presence with animals, with animal energy, because animals don't speak our language. So I like to ask my clients first, what animal are you when you communicate? And they usually come with something a bit more weaker, like a dog, I'm a little cat, I'm a little pet, something. And then I say, okay, what animal? Okay, describe the animal. And they go, yeah, I'm really, faithful, I'm really kind, I'm quite shy. And then I say, okay, what animal would you like to be when you communicate? And they usually come out with a wolf, a lion, an owl who's not afraid of the darkness. It's all these mysterious, quite unique, strong animals. And so then I do the transformation with, okay, what do you need in that moment when you will walk into an office, when you will walk into a room, when you will, go on a stage, to become that animal? And what it takes is stepping in a role. What I do is, you don't have to be confident all the time. You don't have to come home to your wife like you're on a stage. You don't go, hey wife, hello, what's for dinner? You don't have to do that. You don't have to be that every minute of your life. But if you step in a role of that animal, and be the energy of that animal, you can do it for those few moments. And it's not manipulation, because somebody's already asked me, hey, is this manipulation? I go, no, it's a role. Like you're living in a role of a daughter, of a mother, of a businesswoman, of a podcaster, of a, you can also step into a role of a really good public speaker, of somebody who sells their business really well. And you can put the energy into this box, and it's like a little, firestorm for those few moments, for those 15 minutes, for that half an hour of a meeting. You can be somebody else.
This is golden, guys, because this is exactly what I personally do. I have this mentality. It's like almost like I always see it in my mind, like donning a coat. I'm going to step on that stage as this person because that's what this person has invited me to deliver. It is a role I play for this period of time. And energetically, I can manage the energy for the length of the commitment that we have built. So I think that's golden nugget. And I want to ask you, I ask all my guests this because I think it's a fascinating insight. What works for you right now to amplify your message, to find clients for your business, and to really create this big impact that you do in your business? What's working right now?
What's working for me is, as I am somebody who loves to communicate to people, is going out there. I love to do live networking. I'm also a member of BNI, which is actually coming from the States. I mean, it's present in over 70 countries, I think. I love to tell people that what I teach and preach is what I actually live. I'm not somebody who's just gone to school to study things and now I'm going to lecture that to you. I know what stage fright does to you. I know how feeling small and not important enough can be damaging. So damaging that when you do have to step on the stage, you actually are not giving your utmost. You're just surviving. You're not thriving. And so I often say, please, let's not go on that stage. Let's not go into that board meeting just to survive. We want to shine. We want to achieve something. So the way I achieve business is I walk to people, and this is another golden nugget, as you like to say. I never look at people up. Even though I'm quite short, I have to physically look at them up. But the way I talk to people is like we're just the same. We're equal. Maybe you have many more millions more. Maybe you're a president of something. Maybe you're a politician. But you are somebody who's just a human as well. You go home, you have your own problems. You get sick, you have children. Maybe you have somebody who's dying at home, and we are equal. And when I talk to people who of some form of importance, somebody maybe who I have to rely on for my business, they love it. Because they don't feel like these superstars, people are looking at me. Because being a superstar is a pressure. I mean, all the famous people will tell you being exposed and being loved so much is a pressure.
Yes. Because
it doesn't feel natural. Because we are all human beings of faults, of mistakes, of failures, of falling down and getting up again, And that's what I do. And this has worked. Just a few days ago, I go to this huge gala event, the businessman, the businesswoman of the year. I go to the organizers. I have met them before, but I just went to them and I said, right, so I saw who presented this event, who was the moderator. It was a famous actress. I can do this better. And they looked at me and they were like, excuse me? And I said, well, I really know how it is to be an entrepreneur. And I come from a family of business, and my father was a craftsman many, many years ago. And I know how to talk to these people. I know I can get to their hearts from my heart. I know how it is to be a craftsman or how it is to be a small business owner. So I know I can speak to them perfectly. And you know what? They said, that's it. You are so right. And I got the job for the next year.
Fantastic.
And I went to that event. I was exhausted, and I went to that event with that purpose. I said, I'm going to go to these two people. There was a president of this Chamber of Commerce and the director, and I went to both of them, and in the end, they both agreed I'm the right choice. And they apologized that I wasn't on their radar before, which was funny because I never sent an offer or anything.
Well, there's a much to be said for 1, get in the room, 2, have a bold ask, and 3, I walk my talk. Because guys, this is this is what is needed in the current world. It was always needed, but you cannot win without it now.
No.
And so I want to invite people to, how can they find you? Because you've got something that is leading with success. Where do they find you?
So they can easily find me on my website, which is www.italk.live. But the easiest way to find me is if your listeners go to www.winyourclient.com. And if they sign in and sign up for my messages, they will get a really nice freebie, a video with quite some important messages and skills that they can start using immediately.
Guys, I want you to go connect if you do not already have the pleasure of knowing Katja Verderber. She is a lightning rocket. She's going to help you energetically lead with who you are. Self-doubt has a role, but diminish it, because truly your next client is looking. They need to find you, and we have an obligation to use our voice, all of them, to get found. Thank you for being our guest today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Congratulations on your big win. Look forward to hearing more about that. Guys, connect to Katja, and we will see you on our next show.
Thank you, Christine. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to